I want to start off by giving you a little farm update. So, if you are not aware, my husband and I are homesteaders, and we live in the Ozarks in southwest Missouri, and we have over 200 animals. So, if you don't know what homesteading means, I've recently learned that there are a lot of people who don't know what it means. It depends on what part of the country you're in, if that's something you've heard of before. So, homesteading simply means that you are raising and growing as much of your own food as possible, trying to live as self sustainably as possible. And it's actually a huge movement right now, especially in the Midwest. And so, my husband, when he retired 3 years ago, we moved from St. Louis, Missouri to Southwest Missouri, bought 5 acres of land, and we are homesteading. So at this point, we have more than 200 animals. We have goats and sheep, chickens, ducks, rabbits, quail, and we raise. So we do eat some of the food, but eat some of the animals. But mostly, it's just we're breeding and selling. We sell eggs and all the animals we breed and sell. We have fallen in love with goats and sheep, so don't worry, we don't eat any goats or sheep. They are our pets now. We breed them and sell them, and then we also are planning on using them for milk products. So we also grow, we're gardeners and grow as much of our own food as we can. So that's what homesteading is. That's what we are doing these days. And so what I want to start with just a quick little homestead update every time if there's any news on the homestead. And we've just had some really awesome news lately. It's a season of babies. And so let's see if I can do this. I'm going to try to show you this little video. Let's see. Okay, so we just had the cutest little babies. Oh, there it is. Yes. So these are our little yes. Okay. I think you can still hear me. These are our little our baby goats. So we just had two baby goats. There we go. Just had two little baby goats born. That's the mama ibis. And we name our goats, our babies thematically. Her name is a bird name. So the babies are Finch, which is the little spotted one. That's a little girl. And the little boy is Chippy, which is a little sparrow. And so that's a little boy, the darker brown one. So anyway, that's our little baby goats. And then we also have, there we go. Yeah, there we go. We also have some baby chickens. So these are so cute. This was we have some free range chickens. And we didn't even know that she was sitting on her eggs. And then one day she comes out with all these little chickens. She's got 13 babies. And so they're free rangers and they're just running around free and just free and easy, living the good life. And she's a very good mama. She will, if anybody gets too close or if our dog gets too close, she will chase them away. So she's going to be able to keep those babies alive. So here's our homestead update. I need to get some music for that. Okay, so here's what's going. I wanted to show you, just give you a little kind of preview of our farm. So we have 5 acres. This is in Blue Eye, Missouri. And so I just wanted to show you so you could see kind of a little bit what our lives are like. So these are our goats. We have lots and lots of goats, and they're just so sweet. We have fallen so in love with our goats. They have personalities of dogs. I mean, this is Juniper, and you can see all the goats coming out. They're just friendly. They each have their unique personalities. They even have unique voices. I think they're better than dogs, honestly. They are just wonderful, wonderful. Don't worry, I love dogs. We have dogs. But they're so sweet. Just wanted everybody to see our wonderful goats. And you see that big fat goat back there. She's actually not pregnant. She was overbred before we bought her. And so her ligaments have fallen. So anyway, you can see part of our farm there and our garden. Okay, and then here's the other thing I wanted to show you. These are our goat babies. So last week, I showed a little video of our babies who had just been born only a few days before. And so here they are now. They're doing so well. They're growing up. The little lighter colored one with the black spots, that is Finchy, and she is the girl. And then the brown one, and then the brown one is Chippy. So when there's the mama, and she is Ibis. And so we name our animals thematically. So this mom has a bird name. So all the babies have to have bird names. So anyway, you can just see how cute they are. And they're still a little bit skittish right now. They're just kind of born that way. That's their instinct to be afraid of everything except their mom. And so I'm spending time with them to get them used to me. Okay, so that is our homestead update. Okay, so here's my homestead update. So I want to show you. Here is I want to talk about these little chickens. So I showed these a couple of weeks ago. So this is one of our free range chickens, our little mama chicken. And so I want to tell you a crazy story about them. So most of our chickens, we have over 100 chickens, and most of our chickens are uh, are are in cages. Sorry, I'm watching the video. They're in cages, and we raise them for we sell their eggs, and then we incubate some of their eggs, and we sell chicks. You can see all the cages there where most of our chickens are. This is our garden area, and so anyway, and then we do eat some of our chickens. Sorry if that bothers anybody, but oh, and there's a close up. That's some of our chickens that are inside these little tractors, is what we call them. We move those around so they get fresh grass regularly. But we do have some free range chickens, and so they just stay outside. So they were actually, a lot of them were here when we first bought our property, and they take care of themselves. They sleep in the trees at night. We really don't feed them or do anything. So when we first moved here 3 years ago, we had, oh gosh, there were probably 20 of these free range chickens, and they're almost wild. They're feral. They really take care of themselves, and so they were just doing fine. They were having babies, and um, just continuing the process, and replenishing themselves every year. They didn't need any help from us. And then last year, oh, and we love having them because they eat all the ticks and all the bugs. We have no bugs on our 5 acres, which is a miracle here in Southwest Missouri. So anyway, then the property next to us, there's 300 acres that was just empty next to us when we first bought our property. And so a lot of the chickens would go in there, and they would stay in the trees there at night. And so it got sold. And so the guys started doing some construction work back in there. And so there were these big trucks going back and forth. They cut down a bunch of trees and stuff. So it really disrupted their habitat. And so all of our free range chickens died, except for two, one rooster and one hen. And so we were so sad about that. There were even a bunch of babies, and then they disappeared. So their habitat just got all messed up. So the coyotes probably got them. They just, they weren't able to withstand and to take care of themselves after all of that happened. So we've been very hopeful that these two would make some babies so that we could replenish our population of free range chickens. And so we didn't even know that our hen was laying on eggs. And then about 3 weeks ago, she shows up with 13 babies, and you can see them right there. That's our back porch. And so we were so excited. And she's actually a really good mom. So it is 3 weeks later, and all of her 13 babies are still alive, which is honestly a miracle, because even some of these animals that are, like our feral chickens, some of them are good moms and some of them aren't. Some of them kind of just abandon their babies, and then they get picked off by hawks and coyotes and things like that. Here, let me redo this so we can go back to the beginning here while I'm telling the story. So anyway, I want to tell you this story about our chicken. I'm going to try to tell a little interesting story in my homestead update every week. So she had 13 babies, and you can see her there. So she's going through right now. So that we have a big area that is all fenced off where our goats are, and we have a dog in there, a livestock guard dog, Oscar, who he protects our goats from predators, coyotes. We have all kinds of predators here. We even have bear. Mountain lions, things like that. So we really need a livestock guard dog in there. So, but he's not very good with chickens. We can't keep him away from our chickens. So we actually have all of our poultry in a completely separate area so that he won't go after the chickens, because he might hurt them or kill them if he got a hold of them. So when you can see that area back there. So the mama with her babies usually keeps them outside of that area where Oscar is, but they can all fit through the fence. And so every day she likes to take a couple of field trips with her babies to get to the poultry area. And that means she has to cross the area where Oscar, our dog, can get to her. So we're always a little bit nervous about that. She's such a good mom. She'll go after him. And he's a humongous dog. You can see him in the intro video. And she will do her wings down and chase him away. And he'll run away from her. But if he ever got access to those little babies, he would kill them. So anyway, we're always just hoping and praying that she can get her babies to the other side without any problem. So one morning, this was about 3 weeks ago, when they were still just a couple of days old, I look out there and I can see that Oscar has something. So I run out there, and sure enough, it's a tick. And so he's got a buzz collar. We don't shock him, but it does a little buzz, like a vibration, and he hates that. So it buzzed him. He ran off, and sure enough, one of those little chicks was laying on the ground. It's laying upside down. It's like his head was kind of mad. There was blood coming out of his eye. There was blood everywhere. He's obviously dead, right? And I'm like, oh man. So these little chicks, when they're first born, or first hatched, they're tiny, they're very delicate. They die a lot. So anyway, I'm like, oh well, that's too bad. I actually used it as a teaching moment. So I tried picking him up. The guy was dead. Put him back down, and then I walked away to see if I could use this opportunity to kind of give Oscar some reinforcement to stay away from the baby chicks. So he walks over to the chick, and I buzzed him again. Again, it's not a shock; it's just a vibration, people. And so he ran off. So I'm like, okay, that teaching opportunity is done now. So I pick up the dead chick. He's absolutely dead. He's just laying there. Oh, there's blood all over the place. And so I carry him out. I'm taking him out to get rid of him. And then what do you know? He kind of moves, kind of gasps for air. Like, oh. So normally, but he's not going to make it. His head's smashed. He's just not going to make it. And but normally, what people would do at this point, good homesteaders, would maybe end his life, call him, get him out of pain. I'm not that kind of homesteader. I have trouble doing that. So I just took him and I gently put him next to his mom. Now, normally a feral chicken like this, they're not going to do anything. They're just going to abandon that baby. It's got too many problems. So I just left it there. And then I went and did my other chores while my husband, Craig, yelled at me and said, hey, come look. And what do you know? That little baby who was dead was standing up, running around. Now, he still was not right. Every time he stopped, he was kind of wobbly and he was kind of messed up. There's still blood all over the place. I'm like, wow, that's crazy. And that chick came back to life from the dead. And so then he was still, wobbly, running around. He ran behind some stuff on our porch. So I'm like, okay, well, he's still going to die. There's no way that chick can make it. And so I went and did the rest of my chores. So later I went out to look for him and he was nowhere to be found. So I'm like, okay, so maybe our other dog got him, or maybe a hawk or something came and got him. So that chick is gone. So the whole day goes by and I go out, we're doing our evening chores, and the mama hen comes out. She's got 13 babies. Like, what is going on here? And so I look at him really carefully. I'm like, maybe we missed one before. Nope, sure enough, that little chick who had been dead. I promise you, that chick was dead. I could tell which one he was. His head was kind of shaped a little funny, and he had a little bit of blood left. It was definitely him. But he was running around like nothing ever happened to him. He was running around like he was fine. And it is 3 weeks later, and that little chick is fine. He's getting bigger. He acts like nothing ever happened. I can barely even tell him apart from the others anymore. So it's just great. It's the craziest story. I believe that chick was raised from the dead. Now, we call our homestead the healing farm because we take on a lot of animals that have disabilities, have problems, and we either will nurse them back to life, usually just back to health. This is the first time that's ever happened. Or we just make sure they have a safe space and where they can live a good life. And I'm going to be showing you some stories of some of those other animals in my other homestead update. So that's my homestead update. I just wanted to share with you. So we do have a healing farm, but this is the first time we ever had an animal come back to life from the dead. So there you go. Okay. Homestead update is over.